Crazy, man. You're going into game number 2 against MVP Black. It's early in the tournament. Let's just throw something out there. I mean, we've seen them run Butcher in the past, thanks to you, by the way.
They have run Butcher in the past, and they did run it on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is going to be MVP Black's pick. And when we talk about Warhead, you've got a little bit of room to escape, but there is nowhere to hide on Tomb of the Spider Queen against MVP Black.
I wonder if we'll see Stitches. You know, Stitches definitely really only meta in Korea right now as a top-tier warrior, and it's one of the warriors that MVP Black says they think is the strongest right now, which is kind of funny. You know, myself always being a big Stitches hater at internationals events, saying, oh, they went full EU, etc. But now it's going full Korea to be going fully into the Stitches pick. It's a pick we've seen on this map a lot. And this is the map where you will often see, and I'm not saying we're going to in this particular game, but they need to be aware, Deadly Kittens, of the Medivh Stitches. And I know it sounds like this old school, oh yeah, everyone Medivh came out into the gorge, into the portal behind the wall, but when you're winning because you got early picks with the Stitches and you have your forts up for a very long time, and you do on Tomb of the Spider Queen have those forts up for a very long time, this is the map where we do see that combination come out. So it's something that no doubt Youngback did actually research into, and we might see, if you see like a weird Medivh ban here after the Stitches comes out, that's probably why.
Deadly Kittens, when I talked to them going into their regional, I said, you know, Medivh, KT, and Butcher can be a little fun. They actually played that in the very first series of their game. I don't think we're going to see that, but the Medivh definitely. I think when we talk about Rich, we talk about the hero pools, we see Illidan. He's also what could be, I mean, I would love to see matchups, and I hope that we get all of these teams at BlizzCon because I want to see the East versus West, Rich Medivh versus, say, Glaurung, ADRD. Like, that is a dream come true. Just Schwimpy, just get them all in a room and be like, look, somebody's got to have Medivh here, and we're going to see who we have. But Deadly Kittens, starting off this draft, won absolutely no part of Genji as an Ariel ban comes out in response from MVP Black.
Just sticking with these standard bans here, if you covered the team names, you would know. So again, Kitten's doing the research here. If you covered the team names here, you would assume this was a HGC Korea game based on what we've seen so far. The Stitch is even coming up to first pick here now. And Tastar will be taken here for Black. Now the question is, who do they pair the Tastar with? We've seen them run Illidan on this map, but it's not the map they prefer to run Illidan on. They prefer him on the bigger maps where the split pushing gets extra value, where you can use the hunt to get more EXP leads, go for long distance engages. This is a map we'd see L5 likely pick up the Vala here, but it's not really the style of MVP Black.
Do they typically grab their carries on the earlier side? Because in EU, we would see this Tassadar and maybe in a Nubrak right away to handle that Stitches.
Usually in Korea, you kind of go down the S-tier hero pool, and when you're in second rotation, you try to grab two heroes that pair really well to each other. So with the Tassadar, with L5, you'd be looking at the Vala. With MVP Black, I feel like you might be looking at even grabbing the Uther here. It's going to be Greymane instead, so looking to pair the Tassadar with the Greymane, solid wave clear, really good camp clearing, fast rotation. So this idea is to just kind of lock down the DPS and have that hyper carry, quote unquote, as we call it.
I want to talk about our interview that we had yesterday where Rich just flat out, he even said it, is that their team is more aggressive now. And he looked at us and he's like, we asked him, other than yourself, who's the best player in the world? He said, Reset. Just moments before that, when we were asking all kinds of questions, really trying to dig into what MVP Black's mindset is, he said that with Reset on his team, Rich is the team fight shot caller. He's like, when I go in, Reset knows. And Greymane is that hero that they allow to go in. And then you got to be careful. You know, he's played a lot of Malthael, but Malthael received nerfs. But this is the type of play style that MVP Black absolutely loves.
Well, we're going to be seeing that aggressive play style. On the other side, you have Deadly Kittens, who can be aggressive themselves, but I feel like in this entire matchup, they're going to be a little bit more on the defensive side, especially with that Stitches pickup.
Yeah, you have to wonder what's the pairing with the Stitches here. You know,
I mean, Uther is a go-to right away, right?
Absolutely. Uther is a go-to, and they're going to take Li Ming here, which is obviously not as meta in Korea right now, especially not for MVP Black. No games played of her in this part of the second phase, but you know, in Korea, you look to the Uther pick immediately. If not available, this is a map where you'd sometimes even see Malfurion come out for the root follow-ups. So Uther coming out here, clearly Deadly Kittens has a plan to use this Stitches for the CC chains using Li Ming. It's going to be difficult to do so with Tastar on the other side because if you time it correctly, Tastar's shield kind of blocks the burst damage of Li Ming.
Well, so far on these drafts, we've got an idea of what Deadly Kittens think is the way to beat MVP Black. And it's find a way to get a pick, lock someone down, and kill them. They tried it last with the 3 globals, didn't work out too much. This one's a little bit more linear, more upfront. Stitches hits a hook, Uther comes in with a stun, and then of course Li Ming brings up the damage. I also like them grabbing Li Ming here because it makes it where they don't have to ban out a Nubrak. They're able to allow the Nubrak to go forward so they can handle the Coon that can come their way. So they have a good foundation for moving into that pick style.
I'm more worried about the fact that it's Deadly Kittens ban. Cassie is going to be banned out. I feel this has to be a Medivh ban. I don't think you want to run in the risk. They quickly hover the Zul, which is really good on this battleground, and he's a strong hero in his current iteration since the rework, but I am terrified of a Rich Medivh right now.
Based on Reset's facial expression, it feels like they're a bit surprised by the Zul ban. Even though Zul has been significantly buffed, we haven't seen him have the impact that people had expected from him after the rework. But we are going to see that Malthael was talking about when heroes like Genji are taken away, the Zul taken away. Rich is just going to look for the safe top lane here with the Malthael, which will basically duel against anybody, no problem. Sure, the nerfs for team fighting are the ones that really sting for Malthael, but in lane, he's just as strong as he always was. And what are we going to see here in terms of secondary support? They might grab the Rhaegar now if they really want Greymane to be that hyper carry, but maybe they decide to wait and save it for the 5th pick.
You know, Malthael has actually been Rich's most played hero this phase, and, you know, we kind of saw the nerfs in the middle of that. And I asked Rich, he's like, you know, he's not as strong as he used to be, I don't know. But I was like, I think that you might be trying to pull my leg a little bit because I know that you love this hero. He has great sustainability. I watched Rich on stream just dominate there. He dominates in the league. And again, I talked about that combo of getting Malthael on that back line. He can sneak around and then create that disruption, and Greymane comes in. It is a terrifying prospect here for Deadly Kittens.
I like the mouth pick here too. If there ever is that hook gorge you were talking about, which you don't have to have the Medivh for, but if you do have just the hook gorge by itself, Malfurion's able to drop that root behind, cut off any X6 escape, which allows Malvi to go in, start burning him down, and then you have a fight when that member jumps away. So I like the Malfurion movement here from MVP Black. Over to Deadly Kittens, them banning out the Zul kind of yells to me that they are looking for fights. They're wanting to move into fights, and they're going to go ahead and sacrifice wave clear and the ability to get more damage, more burst. So I need to figure out what their 4th and 5th pick is going to be. From the idea of what's been going on in the eastern side of the world, we've been seeing a lot more Alaric on this map in particular, and I wouldn't mind seeing it picked up. Ooh, they moved straight to Ragnaros and Tyrael though.
Yeah, Tyrael was very likely going to be the 5th pick for MVP Black, so I feel like this is a denial pick almost more than anything. They're going to take the Anubrak instead here, so we're going to get a very good hero in terms of CC to deal with when Li Ming is trying to dive in, knock her up the Cocoon coming in for Uther in the beginning of the team fight. Sometimes even will be used for Tyrael when he tries to Aldruins in and get the big sanctification. I feel like Black has an all-around really standard draft that's going to do well in all phases of the game. They have Greymane for really good wave clear. They have the ability to rotate to the caps quickly. And, you know, boss control certainly will go, of course, to Deadly Kittens. They have the sanctification there later on in the late game Holy Ground. But I think that what the draft for Kittens has to accomplish is those early game picks. And I think that's going to be very difficult to do. The roots are going to be there to punish when Stitches overextends to try to get a hook. He doesn't have mobility. He doesn't have escapes like a Nubrak does, for example, like Tyrael does. So the roots can come in, and that could be a big problem for Deadly Kittens.
Well, Trixler, we're headed into game number 2 as MVP Black finished in just under 8 minutes. They're going to be going up against Deadly Kittens here in game number 2.
So here they are on the left in the blue. Kyoto showing off that Malfurion. And of course, they're showing off their new MVP Black spray, looking pretty darn fresh there. On the right side, in the red, it will be Deadly Kittens themselves.
Deadly Kittens putting the MVP Black spray down. Trick, be honest with me.
Okay.
Who'd you cheer for?
Who do I cheer for in this match?
No, who did you cheer for?
I have yet to do it, but when I get home...
Oh, that's right, you've been gone.
Yeah, I want to cheer.
Okay, you get a pass, you get a pass. It's not like you haven't been home or something like that.
My thought process, though, is I want to cheer for Expert. First off, they're not on the leaderboard, and second off, they did very well at the Western Clash, so I may drop them a cheer, and I'm waiting to see who I want to cheer for in this tournament after I watch, of course, all the teams play.
All the MVP Black spray is going down, but you know, I think right now when I looked at Deadly Kittens draft, they have the Ragnaros. It's a fallback option to help defend against the push as we see the hook onto Tassino. That's never a good hook target, but it gives you that ability to stall the game a little bit. You have that. You have Sanctification to potentially stall out the Tormented Souls from Rich, things like that. So I want to see how Deadly Kittens plays. Will they be passive earlier, or are they going to try and look for some picks of their own?
Yeah, they can look for picks in the early game here. It will require pretty solid coordination between Stitches hitting the hook, Uther coming with a stun, and of course Li Ming to hit that follow-up damage. Even then, I'm not sure if they have the full kill potential unless they hit Greymane, especially with that Tassel that's coming from the field and now Fury to heal out. But Deadly Kittens do have the options. But I do like their mid-game. As you mentioned, the Ragnaros pick is more of a safety response to what they are facing off against MVP Black. And MVP Black is going to be a spot where they do get turned. But Ragnaros can delay like crazy. Once we get that Vindication material at level 10, as you mentioned, they can handle the Greymane and Malthael pushing in if they can turn around the fight. My main question is, do they have enough damage?
That is always going to be a question when you run things like Double Warrior, things like that. And, you know, we have different approaches as there is going to be Kyocha is hooked in, but nice play by Tis there. You know, Trixler, we have a dive in here. There's Rich going in, doing Rich things. They're trying to get onto Ragnaros, who is an early game liability. He does get away, but in return is going to be Greymane going down as Reset, going to be First Blood.
The Deadly Kittens are clawing back here as they're looking for their fights and a nice little 5v5 early. They even use the Molten Core to help try and force another engagement and get another kill. Deadly Kittens at least being in a good spot here with the First Blood. And SG being a little bit too aggressive for my taste, but finally does pull away.
All right, Trick, I want to put this into perspective because it feels like we just did Eastern Clash not too long ago, but it was Sake's fine. That is Sake there. He is just like, hey, guy, oh, hit him with the spray. You can't hit me with anything. But it felt like it was just Eastern Clash back in March, and I remember casting MVP Black with you, and I was a little bit critical of Tist Nubarak play. He was new to it. It wasn't something that he had been around. It's something, or that might have actually been a midseason brawl. But now he looks a lot more polished on this hero, knowing when his positioning needs to be on point, how to feel things like that. I like the early aggression here with MVP Black.
Yeah, Tist has definitely grown into his own as a player here, especially now being on the roster for what, it's 8 months now? Really coming in, especially with Reset and of course now Rich, really ready to go in for those fights. You want that aggressive warrior to have those aggressive players to follow up with, and right now they are just gelling as a team. The only risk that I feel like I look at on this team is Kyocha. That's only because he's new to the support role, but he's still filling out well. It was actually kind of awesome talking to Kyocha and who he looks up to. First off, he had Mary Day to talk to him before he left, which was
anytime you need tips,
exactly.
Just call up an old friend.
Call up Mary Day and talk to him. He's been looking at EU, Mexi and Bakery in particular. He thinks they're some of the best supports in the world, and he's trying to learn from them, which is kind of a cool thing to learn.
I think that's a pretty good person to go off of. Sake, that dimensional shift isn't there, and Innover goes in, and they finally do get the pick. No spray this time from Sake because, well, you can't spray when you're dead.
Well, talking about that kill, that's actually a very solid kill for Deadly Kittens. They need to keep up with the experience. You see them missing out on the wave clear. Hang on.
2 kills to 0.
Yeah, you're right. It is 2 kills to 0. They're keeping up with it. And going into late game, this might be a little bit harder to keep up with, but if Deadly Kittens can get a turn in early, get the map opened up here for Li Ming to have that full playground, I can see them moving into a spot where MVP Black might struggle.
I really wonder what we're going to see post-10 for Stitches. Will we see the Gorge or will we see the Putrid Biome, which tends to be the standard, but going up against the Malthael, maybe Gorge would be better. The minute he pops that, you have a very heavy melee team because Uther plays that melee role. We're looking at 4 melee. And if you need to get that extra healing, you can get that spread out with Tormented Souls as Zay is going to get out of there. But those are things I really want to look forward to as we see Zay's just proccing that Heraldric Reforging.
Well, if you're talking about actual heroics, that would be helpful if you just look at compositions. I think Putrid Biome is the comp to go for because it's great against Greymane and Malthael, who will be defending late game. But I think if you're taking the approach that Deadly Kittens is coming into with this best of 3 series, I think it has to be the Gorge. Hit those isolation picks, go for the kills, and get number advantage. It seems to be the only way that Deadly Kittens thinks they actually have a way of beating this team.
Could just cocoon in return, so we'll see how that plays out as we do have our first Web Weavers turned in here by MVP Black as Tist going to go ahead and burrow on out of there, but the hook brings him back in, and Tist takes all kinds of damage, and that is not what you want heading in to the Web Weaver phases. We're looking at 3 kills to 0 here, Trick.
That was an instrumental pickoff for multiple reasons, but one reason in particular is now Deadly Kittens can actually defend this Web Weaver push in a solid formation. They are now in a 5-4. They have the Molten Core available up pretty soon here to where they can defend their core pushing in. You already have Ragnaros on the bottom, Tyrael on the top, and they're going to be in a spot where they hold all infrastructure.
they have it. And this is one of the things I talked about, being able to stall this game out, play into the late game. One of the things you can do is to use that molten core, but Rich will engage onto that. The minute he comes out of that, yeah, I don't know if we can get that camera back down there. Sake is using his dimensional shift. We might have a trade of kills here. Ragnaros does go down, and Sake, he's going to go down in return. But I like the approach there. MVP Black recognizing the opportunity. That molten core, he was still there, and there's no way out the minute you come out.
Big pickups there from both of our teams, 1-1, but the experience lead. This was the main issue. By giving up the amount of wave clear you can get on this battleground, you have to wait till 7 before Stitches actually starts to really bring out that W build. You put yourself in a spot where if you're not in every single lane getting the experience, you're going to fall behind. And MVP Black, although they've fallen behind in kills, they're still ahead in experience. This is the moment for Deadly Kittens to answer back, though, with the Web Weaver. Yeah,
this is one of those times where you want to make sure that you get it turned in before the enemy team gets close to 10. Yeah. Because the closer they get to 10, it minimalizes what you can get out of that Web Weaver way. So recognizing that push, they're going to get a little bit of value out of this. But again, it prolongs the game. You'll get that supplemental experience to stay in this. And it's a brand new game in Heroes when you get to level 10. And again, when you look at both these teams, you have a lot of protection. Will it be the Divine Storm to potentially deal with that dive, Greymane, Anubarak, and Malthil? These are things that are about to be answered real soon.
It could be useful. I actually wouldn't mind it. I mean, look at Anubarak build. At the level 4 and level 7, the dive build is set up here for Anubarak, which does indicate that MVP Black is wanting to move in for a fight. They want to force scenarios where they're on the back line and trying to make a kill or two happen against the Deadly Kittens. Having the Divine Storm can help handle that down, especially with Tormented Stills coming in.
Well, level 10 was picked up. We can see Tassadar holding on to his heroic for now, but everything else standard across the board. We are going to be looking at Cursed Bullet to deal with that incredibly high health pool of Stitches, who, Trick, he has the highest base health pool in the game, so that'll always be useful.
Yeah, he's a bit of a tanky character. I mean,
a little bit.
I mean, it seems like his supersized model is definitely warranted due to those health pools here. So Stronger will be able to sit in the middle. Finally, 10 is here. Now let's find out what these heroics are going to be. So far, as you mentioned, Tassadar's been waiting for that force wall because he wanted to see if Gorge would be picked up. And Gorge did get picked up, and instantly the force wall comes in. MVP Black has 2 tools here to make sure that Stitches does not get away.
Uther holding on to his, which screams the fact that it might seem like you will go Divine Storm, and Tyrael holding on to his. I doubt we'll see Judgment. But the one thing, if they go Judgment, I want to break that down because Kyocha is kind of that new role. He talked to us about he's not yet entirely comfortable into that role. And one of the things that you can do, you see that he has the protection of a team that swarms the enemy team. So Kyocha's never put under any pressure. I wonder what happens when a team is like, you know what, we're going to turn this aggression against you. And I would love to see somebody dive on to that Malfurion at some point, but they are waiting till the fight breaks out before they lock those in.
They might not even have to even just go straight in for Malfurion. They have many targets here because Cleanse not being available for that Malfurion. It would allow for Kyocha to step up and bring out the Twilight Dream, but if you go for a Judgment into an Orb Q combo into a Sulfura Smash, that target, I don't care who you are, maybe Tassadar, will get blown up.
Well, we'll see, you know, Rich on this Malthel. This is something that we talked about. We sat around at dinner. We talked about these things. I'm like, I cannot wait. And I saw Rich play last year, and it's like, I didn't know how much I loved his play until he left us for the first phase, and now he's back, and we have the roots going to land there onto NSJ, but Stronger has a hook and a gorge.
He has a hook and a gorge. Dimensional Shift is still up for Sake. Is he going to be able to use it? He drops down the Side Storm, the Force Wall coming out at the same time. He is pinching the rest of the Deadly Kittens here on the right side. Dimensional Shift will be used, and he's going the long route, so Fierce Smash comes out, and Inniver will get another kill.
That is surprising. 5-1, and Zane's going into the backside. Divine Storm was picked up. We're going to see if they can get onto them. Rich trying to get some damage in there, but Zaze has continued to put the pressure on. He's got the slow onto Rich. They're turning the fight around, and they're going in. His test dives in.
Twilight Dream hitting here too. Ragnaros turning around and wants to get the heal up. Oh! Storm! As 2 is taken out. A 3rd also being taken out. And Deadly Kittens, they're showing life.
Just like that, just Uther explodes. And they're 1 gem away from getting that turn in. Instead, now all of a sudden, Deadly Kittens, they're going to capitalize on that, Trixlers. They're going to get the 2nd turn in of the game on their side.
Deadly Kittens saying, you may have beaten us in game number 1, but we got 8 more lives. They're going to go ahead and group up and grab their Wave Weavers and start pushing in.
I just love the play, the aggression. The minute they got that pick, they didn't let up. They went after Rich, and it caused all kinds of chaos. They have the tools to deal with it. They're now approaching level 13. Deadly Kittens MVP Black. I think this is a little bit closer than MVP Black anticipated.
Yeah, looking much closer. Now, we do need to make sure that in all the excitement here, we have to be careful because MVP Black going into the late game. Level 13, level 16, both power spikes from Malthael, and of course Gravy. So they do have the late game potential here. I need Deadly Kittens, although they're getting kills, to start opening the map. Get some forts here and get their opponents on the back foot.
This is their chance to do it. You hit that 13 spike the same as the other team, but you have those web weavers. They really start to amp up, especially after 15 minutes when they get that big bump. But you try and lean towards that. They had about 74 gems when they turned in originally, so they'll be a little ways off before the next one, but if they can keep the pressure up, keep the denial up, they could continue to keep control of this game, which is where I think they're at now with 7 kills to 1. I can't believe I'm saying 7 kills to 1 in favor of Deadly Kittens on MVP Black day 1.
That's right, they are slaying for the moment and do take an experience lead for the first time in this game as they move towards 14. I feel like the rotations could have been a bit better for them. I do see why they were a bit more defensive. They have heroes that aren't really going to be great on their own. Tyrael in particular could have been okay in the middle, but a Ragnaros pushing the lane may have gotten picked off. But they only got 1 fort off that big turn-in.
Little helping hand there. Murr got locked in by the force while it's like, look, I'm pretty sure you're
got you,
safe,
baby.
but I'm going to make sure you're entirely safe. We don't want to get any picks here. But MVP Black, it's up to them to try and turn this game around, get a pick, get a turn in. They're only 1 gem away, and it looks like Deadly Kittens willing to give that up because they have the Ragnaros to fall back on.
Delaying for a small amount of time here, they were getting the bottom lane pushed in so they can deny some experience, and then they will pull back and go ahead and set on up. Now at this point, they've gotten to a nice spot to where that W build's been coming online for Stitches so they can help clear out that middle lane. Ragnaros can rotate in as well and be able to siege from the Molten Core, of course, the top and the bottom side. So Deadly Kittens do have the defense here. They are nice and set up, but they always have to be careful. They have to use that Molten Core early because we could have a Nubrak dive in and force a fight before Inniver gets a chance to pull it off.
More importantly is the positioning of Inniver. He realizes that this fort, you could potentially go down pretty quick, let the team clear the top. The bottom lane is a little bit pushed out. You want to make sure in position behind there. And Inniver recognizes, look, I don't want to make the same mistake as last time. Giving up a fort here is not the end of the world. So we're going to go ahead and give that up for now.
Yep, gonna go ahead and pull that off here. Decided to give it up with that experience gain.
The thing in particular,
pretty darn
for this
huge.
game,
Remember,
I just
one
wanna
more
see
low.
how
That
it
16
plays out,
comes on, and Malthael becomes quite the threat. Inniver will now use the Molten Core, start working on that web weaver in the middle, while his teammates can go ahead and start rotating on the bottom right corner to defend before 16 hits. If 16 does hit for MVP Black, they will dive a keep.
Well, you have quite a bit of range on that Ragnaros Molten Core. As you can see, it's trying to put the pressure on there. MVP Black trying to get the Gorge, but the Force Wall is going to lock him in. They instantly turn on the Stronger. Sanctification is down. They're trying to turn the fight. Tist goes out. The Sulfurous Smash misses the stun. They've cocooned the Tyrael, and now they're trying to turn this fight around as Rich goes in.
Tormented Souls, but Rich getting low, and he's going to fall there, actually, from the W, from the Ragnaros, and all of the Kittens are going to go ahead and keep chasing.
Whoa!
They have 2 kills. They have a third, and SJ is looking for more resets.
Sake is hiding in the bush. Can they find him? He's hurt, and he's going to get away. As Sake
he gets
out the back door.
Luckily getting out of the fight, but Deadly Kittens were behind half a level in experience. Look at it now. They are 16 to 15. They turn their eyes towards the boss in the top.
I tell you one thing that I was really looking forward to. We saw the Sulfurous Smash miss, okay? But Stitches has a level 16 talent that has a significant slow on his slam. And if you're trying to hit a skill shot, somebody that's slowed that much will make it a lot easier. So I expect Deadly Kittens, they're going to try and double up, get the boss, possibly get a turn in time, and really try and open this game up.
Li Ming and Stitches are now best friends due to that build. Many lore nerds at home are probably a little upset thinking about that, but they definitely allow for that synergy to come online. You're completely correct. The skill shot's popping out there and helping out a lot. Now 16 finally has hit for that Malthael. Can MVP Black get the fight they want? So far, Malthael in every single fight has been extinguished.
I am, again, Rich told me, he's like, I'm not as high on Malthael anymore post the nerfs, despite it being his most played hero in this phase leading up to the tournament. But we are on a different patch with a nerfed Malthael, and I think that's starting to show just a little bit, on especially when we talk about the healing, the amount of percentage-based damage that's available.
Okay, here 16 to 16 for our teams, and Web Weaver's pushing in. MVP Black and Deadly Kittens on even talent tiers. Can the Kittens set up well here to start breaking down more forts? They need to answer back against MVP Black, because MVP Black right now, in terms of map control, is in a better spot. Here's another engage. Stronger getting low on health. The heal does pop in. We're going to see him come back forward with the Sanctification.
Sanctification, but Nubrak's going to go down. Malthael has now joined the back, and the minute he pops Tormented Souls, we have the Gorge. The Divine Storm is already used, and it's not enough to get the kill. Is Stronger barely staying alive, but he's going to go down.
And This is where Reset is looking for the kills, but Reset himself may be in trouble. The shield comes out the last second, and Murr will be the last one to take
the heal?
Eniver's looking for the pops here as he uses Molten Core.
Oh, Zay's popped the shield from Tyrael, and Ghost Uther kept NSJ alive. And you can see Murr really wanted that kill onto Reset. They weren't able to get that, so we have a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Black the entire time, Trixler. Got some Web Weavers pushing.
Yes, that is the good news here for the Deadly Kittens. They got some damage on that keep in the top left, and they've worked on the fort in the bottom left. So they have opened up the map pretty nicely due to those Web Weavers being turned in. But MVP Black will be able to answer back soon here. They have 40 out of the 60 gems for their own turn in. Where the Deadly Kittens, they won't have one for a while here.
Not going to have one for a while, but the way these team fights have been going, I think that play was so close to just breaking open in favor of Deadly Kittens. The minute they got that gorge on the Malthael, you could see that, hey, we're going to try and do this. But I talked about that potential of the minute Malthael hops in with Tormented Souls, you just gorge him, and that neutralizes that. Of course, you have the cocoon in response, but so far, it's actually been very heads-up play by Deadly Kittens, just on the brink of winning that fight, Trick.
Yeah, it's pretty clever because the Malthael has to use that Tormented Souls due to the fact that they don't really have the major poke you would get from a lot of compositions. Draining Pure with the cocktails come in and be a bit of a harassment. Uther should be able to handle that pretty nicely, and Stitches himself can devour some health. Hang on though, just going in for an engage, Eniver's low on health. Deadly Kittens will pull on back, but you're right, that Tormented Souls has to be used right away, which brings that gorge back into fruition.
It does, and you can see Tassadar putting down, he's got that Psionic Echo now. He went into the Psystorm at level 1 trick, and you know that's putting out the damage now, and it's definitely using a very good zoning tool. As we can see, MVP Black now looking to get the turn, and they got the Siege Giants at the bottom. They've got enough gems to turn in as Deadly Kittens willing to commit to the hard defense.
Yeah, Deadly Kittens and their setup they had earlier is starting to fade pretty heavily here as they move towards that level 20. The turn-in setup for MVP Black. It's all about the keeps for both of our teams now as we do move into this late game. And look at the experience. It's dead even right now. Both our teams are about to hit level 19.
As much as we say all this is happening, MVP Black, the Web Weavers, it's 17 minutes in, they're much stronger. You do have that Molten Core to fall back on, but they are starting to soften up this top lane a little bit. We talk about getting kills that one pick can snowball into many more, and just the game could collapse before your very eyes. So Deadly Kittens, you can see the passive play right now, willing to let those push, and hopefully holding on to all their keeps in the process.
Yes, MVP Black will have to be careful, but you're right, the keeps are the main target. Remember, Deadly Kittens now at that 16, that mirror ball being involved for a leading main, it's that sulfuric smash into that gorge and hook combo is always something that the Black has to dance around here. So Black, moving forward here, breaking open the middle wall, moving towards that 20, already putting damage on top of that well, and of course, the keep here. Molten Core will be used. There's a hook though, and it hits Malthael.
There's the gorge. Can they get the lockdown? We see Ragnaros still in that sulfuric smash goes down, but there goes Rich diving out. Sanctification used, and Rich is locked in right now, Trick.
He's low, he's behind the keep, and he'll be taken out. NSG looking for more here. The keep moving in. The 20 hit still hit for MVP Black. Reset on the left side here will be slowed down by Stronger, but Deadly Kittens, they have defended. They actually want to get offensive now.
He has the Heraldric Forge, and we saw the slow, but they realized they needed to defend against the Web Weavers. They're going to fall back. They got the pick. They also recognized 20 was picked up by Black. They're now looking to get 20 themselves, and the boss seems to be coming available here in about just 3 seconds. This is either going to be bait or it's going to be a boss, and I can't wait to see the reaction here as it looks like they're going in on the boss now.
They're going straight for the boss as they brought back Malthael. I don't think Deadly Kittens is aware of this even happening. In fact, they're not even moving towards it to even scout it out. There's actually a very clever boss call due to Sulfurious Smash not being available. The only one that can be a real major pain here is that Li Ming. Of course, there is that holy ground, but if you do it underneath your opponents and they are unaware of it, obviously you're going to grab it and they get it for free.
They are, and I think this is just going to give them the opportunity to open up this mid lane. This keep is about half health, and all of a sudden we see the holy ground trying to be used. Eniver is going to be locked in as the Twilight Dream is going to lock down Ragnaros to get the kill. The cocoon there, and now Tist going back in.
Going back in, Murr will be able to back on up. That boss is in the top lane though, wailing on top of that keep wall and moving towards the keep. MVP Black with a big pick here, 5-4, will be able to keep pushing in as well on any lane they would like. And I would love for them to push in that middle lane due to Deadly Kittens show that they have brought 4 in the top to defend.
If you're willing to give up a lane, the middle lane is probably the safest lane to give up. I tell you the one thing that happened there though, is Ragnaros was actually holding on to quite a few gems. They had almost enough. Now they're going to have to continue that climb. Both teams almost on even footing with a slight lead for Deadly Kittens, but we still have another 30 seconds before Ragnaros is back on the battlefield.
And that is very unfortunate. Luckily for Deadly Kittens, MVP Black doesn't have very many things to do right now, as they can move in for some gems, but they don't have a full turn-in available. They'll be able to grab Giants on the bottom, Mercs on the left side. Even if they would like, they could go for an aggressive push on the Mercs on the right side. However, with Ragnaros spawning in the next 10 seconds, that probably would be ill-advised. They're going to go ahead and hold on out here, keep up as a 5-man unit, allow Rich to go ahead and peel off where he needs to, where the Deadly Kittens need to group up, push out lanes, and find a way to get into a fight.
They're giving up a lot right now. Between the Siege Giants, all the camps on the map right now are being picked up by MVP Black. And it's forcing rotations right now out of Deadly Kittens, as we see Zays has sniffed that out. They have the tools to defend with it. But what it does, it keeps Deadly Kittens pinned in their back line, near their keeps, as they've got Stronger locked in. He does have the shield at 20 to keep him available, and the Uther armor. Uther armor.
Helping him stay alive there, man. Uther, give him that Under Armor. Sets up Stitches pretty well there. Underneath his skin, he's got this nice Platanic skin that's good to go for defending himself. Thank you, Uther, for giving that out there. Should see a clothing line from him pretty soon here. Deadly Kittens keeping up with the clear in the middle and holding on for now. Stronger's in a spot where he can hit a hook. He can be aggressive enough to hit somebody here. However, at the same time, Tisk with the epicenter can move in and force a fight.
Woo, they've got the shield, the wall to lock him down. You could see they were just looking. Innover kept going up. We saw NSJ kept going up, and they're like, we're going to get on somebody. Although the holy ground, Tisk going to get out just in time. But man, I tell you what, this game's getting tense. Enough gems are almost there. They do have enough gems for Deadly Kittens. Kyocha and team, they're just about 20 short. So right now, Deadly Kittens, they have to clear the lanes, push the lanes up, and look for a fight and try and get a turn in.
This is what this is yelling to me is that MVP Black is going to go for these turn-ins, drop off their gem now so they can force a fight. Deadly Kittens seeing the turn-in has occurred, go straight forward and aggressive engage. Can they hit this hook here? Test on the left side, a hook has connected. It will be Tassiner. Now can they blow him up?
See if they've got the combo. They're going to lock him in. They stun, they get the lockdown, and that is the pick they're looking for. And now they're going to get the turn-in trick.
They're looking for it. Tisk able to delay slightly here. Everyone else from MVP Black will pull back. They have to defend here.
You saw the player cam. Sake's like, well, I got nothing to do for a minute. I'm just going to get a drink real quick. But this is a big opportunity. We saw them clear out the lanes a little bit. They have catapults in the middle lane, so I'm surprised they're putting the pressure in the middle. But top lane is so far pushed out. They're going to put a lot of pressure in the middle, maybe try and neutralize this. They also have Innover, who looks like he's posturing up to potentially go Molten Core here to kind of create that zone and allow his team to push.
Yeah, this is one of the best spots that you can actually siege here and force MVP Black to defend in a solid manner, and that allows for you when the Webweavers do eventually push in the top to go ahead and go for that keep here. So they're opening up this wall as much as they can. They have Tyrael on the bottom who did some damage on the minions too, so the Webweavers will push in. Deadly Kittens are doing everything right here to get aggressive and open up the battleground. Here we go. They're moving right on in before Tassar responds to get some more damage on that keep.
They're trying to. The hook's going to miss there for Stronger. He does have that slow. It's continuing to put the pressure on. I don't think they're going to have enough to get this keep. The entire time, Tisk has kept Zays busy in the backside. Generally, you want to have Tyrael there, kind of in that lane, getting that holy ground, potentially setting up while you have that 5 versus 4 to get that pick near the keep. They weren't able to get it, so they're going to turn their attention here to the bottom lane.
Move it down. They know that a Nubrak was in the top.
They need that wall opened up, Trig.
The wall is already open, but the Webweaver has been defended. It's already been chunked down to less than a quarter health. Tisk coming in from the side here. He wants a flank. He's going in.
He's going in. The Sanctification's already down. They're turning their attention. Tisk able to dodge that, but we have the Gorge on the backside. Although on the front side, we have the Divine Storm. Tisk is going to be the first to fall, and now this is opening up, but they are in trouble.
But NSJ is low on health, so is Innover and Malthiel on the back line. Rich is just shredding everyone in the way as he torments their souls. Stronger lower on health, so is Zays, and it's going to be another kill.
Rich is wreaking havoc onto Deadly Kittens, and Stronger doesn't look like he's going to get out of here. Murr's going to mount up, cut his losses, and just like that, the minute you don't have that lockdown, that pressure for Rich, that is what Rich does. Finally, Trig, 24 minutes in, we finally see the true strength of Rich on that Malthiel.
A 2-4 trade, but luckily for the Kittens, they did open up that top wall. The Webweaver was able to grab the keep. So
they actually did a little bit of shield damage on the core. It almost really got out of control.
So in terms of a team fight, while things don't look too solid for them, at least they open up the map here. The next big major spot, though, is of course this bus. And MVP Black, they're thinking about it. Do we want to rotate over and start it up? And they are going to do so.
You've got a Malthael. That's a pretty significant amount of damage. Sake obviously has stacked up that Tassadar, doing a little bit of damage himself. So they're going to go. Uther's going to come over and check that out. But with the wall there, I don't know if this is something you want to do. He's going to go and lock it down. This is a really tricky spot for Murr right now.
Yeah, he's just trying to slow everything down so he can get Ragnaros and Li Ming up here. Sadly, it's not Tyrael, though, that would be spawning. If Tyrael spawn, this may have actually been something they could contest. Murr getting low on health, and here is Tess as well. Murr goes to the side. Here comes in a Murr as well.
To die.
He's going to go ahead and die here. Redemption will be available.
But now what? Now what do you do as Uther? That is a mistake. Murr, he's going to try and get out of there. He's going out the backside, but Tist is tracing, locking him down. The roots are going to be there. Murr trying to get the heals. Molten Core used in the 4th spot. Not in there, but the hook's going to go in on a reset, but Murr taking so much damage as Rich going into the back.
He is on the back here. Murr just come out the stun, helping out. Same time, Stronger just getting gorged on the back line. Divine Storm will be used. Rich is still low on health, and he actually will be cleaned up.
They're taking core damage.
And MSJ is moving in.
They can't stay there long. Catapults just got cleared up on the core, but the longer this goes on, the more trouble they are. We have a 2-for-1 trade right now, but Murr's going to go down. He does not have that redemption available, so they have to go as MSJ takes down Reset and gets the kill.
At the same time, Tassadar on the top will be able to live. It looks like for now they turn their attention towards the boss. They want to go ahead and maybe defend it. After they decide, maybe we can take out Tist. If we can kill Tist, maybe we can go for core. Tist does finally pull away, but you mentioned it. The catapults in the middle are pushing in, and now 2 lanes will have keep pushing in as the boss does finally get that key.
Nobody has gems anymore. Nobody has gems. So we are 26 minutes in. It's 1-to-1 in terms of the top lane. The mid lane is the only advantage Black has right now. And if you told me that Deadly Kittens was going to be 26 minutes into a game against MVP Black on Tomb of the Spider Queen, I'd have told you you're crazy. But right now, Deadly Kittens, they take one team fight trick, we're going to game 3.
Well, Jay, I have something to tell you right now. Deadly Kittens are 26 minutes in against MVP Black.
I still think you're crazy.
And it's actually happening here. And I love that team fight that happened in the top right corner for multiple reasons. One, the Molten Core was used to keep Uther alive with that redemption. It gave him a way to come back to the fight as his team. 2, they had a boss pushing in at 24 minutes in the game. If all 5 members and boss are on core, that's game over. Deadly Kittens realized they had to turn around that fight and make something happen. And they did. They are now still in the game because of that. But you are correct. There's not enough gems for either team to turn in. So now it's all about dancing around each other and looking for picks that could occur.
One pick is all it takes. We've seen the Hook Gorge pick into that. It's just what can you do with that? We see the Siege Camp was picked up by Black again controlling that bottom lane. But without enough gems to turn in, this looks very reminiscent of what we saw about 5, 6, 7 minutes ago to where that came in. They looked for it. They sniffed out Tist. He's going to go ahead and burrow away Stronger, looking for any hook opportunities right now, True.
Stronger, constantly sharking around. A bit of delay for both of our teams here, as any mistake could be game over at any point now as we get into this late game here. Deadly Kittens actually being the aggressor with their night camp that they have already grabbed. They're able to push in the middle and siege a little bit. And every single ounce of damage you can put on that key is worth it, but they have to watch out for Tist.
Look at the position of Black. They are so far. There's no fishing hook at 16, so they're just like, look, I'm staying away from any hook range. And the minute that goes out, now look at them. They move forward. They feel much safer pushing out, getting those gems, not giving up any bit more control. But they got to keep an eye on that timer. They've got to look at that clock, say 16 seconds, be on the lookout for another hook. As you can see them, they fall back again to give up a little bit more pressure.
On the other side, it's also a fear for Deadly Kittens. That force wall at level 20, it has almost 100% uptime. If you're able to land that force wall on someone that's overextended, like Stitches in particular, you can get those pickoffs.
Just randomly spray. Like, look, we don't have anything to do. So
when you get in the late game and your APM dwindles a little bit, you just have to slam that team, man. That's all you got.
Just please cheer for us. This is what our logo looks like. Really cool sprays, though. But again, this is a moment right now to where one pick will blow this game wide open. You get one pick, you get that into 2. Any team fight that has multiple picks right now is game over for either team, as the force wall is going to lock in Zaze, but that is Tyrael. There's not much you can do about it.
All comes down to one opportunity. Deadly Kittens looking for it here, trying to represent SCA well. Get a kill against MVP Black, the team that is predicted to win this entire tournament.
Rich.
Big force wall comes in. Rich is on the side, but they have to be careful. Remember, there's always that Molten Core.
Here he comes. Rich is playing with the Fog of War. He's starting to look to go on the backside, but Innover instantly goes into Molten Core. They get the lockdown. They get the stun. They get the blow up on a reset.
They actually take out Gravy, which is a major amount of damage here for MVP Black. Deadly Kittens have to be careful, though. They can't freak out. They can't go in for a full engage. There's always the possibility of Malthael into Tormented Souls. They should be trying to poke. Another hook will hit. It's going to be an ice block from Kyocha.
Kyocha is trying to stay alive. They turn the kill around onto Tyrael. And Mira's going to fall as well. He's getting the heals up. He will be back. Stronger is going to try and walk away from this. And Rich is going in on the back. He's got to try and get the stun. But in comes Tist.
And here's to be the big Divine Storm. And Nubrak will be taken out. But everyone else, 4 Deadly Kittens are starting to fall. Innover hoping to escape. But Rich says no. He continues to chase. Uther bringing out the heals. But it's not enough here as Innover is eventually going to fall.
You shall not pass.
Gandalf. Here we go, the big engagement.
Actually, it was Sake. But the biggest part about that was Innover was holding almost all of their gems. So now the road to redemption is a lot longer, and you look at the gems picked up, they now have enough. The minute this wave is cleared, that is enough for a turn-in, and we are talking about 30, 31-minute web weavers. That is lethal right
Feels
there.
like game over, and I believe Li Ming is aware of that. You're going to see them come over and try and slow down the turn-in so they can at least get Ragnaros up. Ragnaros is their best defense here for the entire team for Deadly Kittens. They need at least 10 more seconds before the web weavers come in. Li Ming's in the middle, floating around. Tyrael has now spawned, but this is looking like it might just be game over as MVP Black is setting up for the end game. They've grabbed Giants on the bottom, they've grabbed Mercenaries on the left. They want to bring a wave of minions and just push in their opponents as much as possible.
It's a scary prospect. When you have Siege Giants pushing in that lane, you have to commit to clear one lane instantly so you can defend another against an enemy push. You talked about Ragnaros, he's back up. Remember, Molten Core was used at the start of that team fight. So we've got to think about, is that off cooldown yet? They need to hold this as long as they can, but they have catapults in 2 lanes, Siege Giants in 1. Deadly Kittens has their hands full right now. And Trick, they are going to have to hope to survive here.
Yeah, Deadly Kittens look like they're in the litter box right now as MVP Black is pushing in, looking aggressive, looking like they want to force this fight. Here it is, right underneath the keep wall. Will Ragnaros start to use that Molten Core? He's on the bottom right side while Stronger is on the side trying to delay this push.
They've got the Night Camp pushing in as well. The Web Weaver's falling, but I don't know if it's going to fall enough. Stronger going in, trying to put the damage on. Sanctification's used. You can see Reset dove onto the core, but in comes Molten Core from Innover to delay this a little bit longer. They're starting to defend right now, Trick.
They're holding it here. They're forcing down the Web Weavers. The other Web Weaver on the bottom is pushing in for that keeper right now.
You got to give it up.
Saving that core. You have to give it up. I completely agree here. And the Deadly Kittens look like they have just barely defended this massive push from MVP Black.
The shields are down, the force wall's out, locking into Stronger. Sanctification's already been used. Tist starting to dive in. There's the force wall again. You talked about the uptime on that. Shields are starting to fall. Core is starting to take damage.
They're starting to take damage here. Drops down to 70. Stronger's on the left side, and MVP Black is going for the kill. It's dropping down to 40%, down to 10%, down to 0, and MVP Black will get a 2-0 over Deadly Kittens.
That will do it. 20 kills to 16 is not enough, as we're gonna just kick Trixler on out of here. We don't want him anymore. But
he's like, he can't go though because the camera shot. There he goes. All right, you guys, he's safe. You made it through. All right, so that game was crazy. I feel like there's a lot of things to talk about. I know we're gonna have some replays popping up here in just a moment to talk about some of those, but I feel like Zays really showed his star power in this second game. I think he's the reason why we had such a close game. His sanctification usage was incredible, always denying the damage in the early to mid game from Rich coming out when he popped his heroic. The sanctification was there to match it. We saw several times there as well. The staggering of the CCs, never stacking them on top of each other or the sanctification. It was the Gorge into the Saphira's Smash, into the next stun, into the next stun, into the Holy Ground, and it was just isolation every single time. I feel like MVP Black can sigh a relief with this 2-0 victory, but I think as they step away from the booth, as they move away here, they're going to be feeling a little bit stressed out. Deadly Kittens have shown, very much so, they are going to be a big contender in this tournament. The preparation we saw, the execution of strategies they clearly prepared going to this best of 3 is incredible.
I think the thing that just stands out to me the most, you look at it on paper, as we've got a replay here, this is kind of where one of the things locked down. Innover just looking to posture up, but you can see the entire time Rich flanking here. They were setting this up from the beginning, but Innover's like, hey, look, I'm Ragnaros, and I've got something called Molten Core.
Look at the pick on the reset there immediately, which means a lot less damage. Sanctification still held on to here as well. Remember, they're not stacking these together. The Molten Core is going to fade here as they try to siege up this keep. But here's another Force Wall as the pick onto Kyoto. But look at this, the double stun, another Force Wall, and that's the huge Twilight Dream that comes in. So again, just the overextension here from Deadly Kittens punished. You can see they struggled all game long against the Sanctification specifically, but when it's not used, they can dominate these fights. Rich gets in on the tanks here, another triple man coming in from Tiss for the dive here, and it ends up being a very close fight at the end of the day, but when Sanctification isn't there to deny all the CC, all the counter engage coming out from BB Black, that's when Kittens really did struggle. But you do have to give props, and this replay doesn't really show, I feel like, how well Deadly Kittens played throughout that mid game. I mean, look, they had the really good defensive engages, the cool things we saw, which we didn't see in replay, sadly, were like the Force Wall comes in to block the Stitches who gorged, and in that moment, in that exact moment, everyone dives in. The Sanctification is there to match it, and sure, MVP Black won this series, but I think we have to raise questions now after this best of 3 as to where Deadly Kittens really stands, because that was a fantastic performance.
It's going to be tricky because I know there's a lot of people probably still sleeping in North America. Europe's obviously waking up watching this. Asia's watching this. They're watching it live. But you're going to wake up and you're in North America and you're going to be like 2-0. That's exactly what I expected. Didn't miss much. But I got news for everybody watching there is that 2-0 on paper is not 2-0 we saw. Game 1, 7 minutes, 58 seconds. That game was like 32, 33, maybe 34 minutes. I mean, that is a night and day difference. And the main point that you said was about the fact that if I'm watching this, because every team is watching this that's here, and you look at this, you're like, wait a minute. We were said during, every team in interviews like MVP Black's the best here. But you've got to think that somebody watching that's like, maybe we've got a chance.
Sure.
Maybe we've got a chance.
I mean, it was the coordination that impressed me the most. We saw the first game on Warhead Junction, the 4-man ganks, the triple global attempt to try to get those picks early, struggled. They failed to find follow-ups there. But in the second game, it was the team fight they wanted, the counter engages. They knew exactly how Black was going to fight. The Sanctifications were really good, and a hero that was mostly absent from the Western Clash already in our first best of 3 is making waves.
We're going to go to Trixler, who's going to be with the winners as he's on the stage now.
Loud. Test. Okay. I'm here with MVP Black's very own Rich. Rich, I gotta ask you, man, the Deadly Kittens coming out, and they put on a pretty crazy display in game number 2. Did you guys expect that?
데들리 키튼즈가 잘한 것도 있는데 저희 팀이 실수를 너무 많이 해가지고 솔직히 만족스럽지 않은 경기력이었어요.
Deadly Kitten was great as we expected, but we had a lot of mistakes, so we are not happy about that.
Big question, I think, from a lot of our Western fans back home is Rich excited to be back and playing here in the HGC? Is Rich excited to play back in the HGC?
정말 재밌게 잘하고 있고요. 많이 만족하고 있어요.
I'm really happy about playing in the HGC, and I'm really happy about that. Yeah, enjoying it.
Awesome. And last question again from our Western fans. They want to know, is there any other team in this tournament that can take on MVP Black and beat you guys at all, or are you going to win the entire thing?
이번 토너먼트에서 혹시 두려워하는 상대가 있는지, 그리고 아니면 그냥 저희 토너먼트를 박살낼까요?
솔직히 오늘 경기하기 전까지는 그냥 박살낼 수 있을 것 같았는데 생각보다 팀들의 수준이 많이 높아가지고 경계되는 팀이라 하면 L5 정도가 있을 것 같아요.
Honestly, before the tournament, we can just easily destroy the whole tournament. But after this game, they were actually better than expected. So maybe L5 is the team we are scared of.
Awesome. Well, we'll see more MVP Black tomorrow. But for now, we're getting ready for match number 2, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.